You see, there comes a peculiar moment in a person's life when they begin to see, not just look, but sight is not the seeing of eyes, nor the hearing of ears, but a quiet awakening somewhere deep within, an awareness that peers behind the curtain of the ordinary and begins to sense the machinery of the world turning silently in the background. And when that moment comes, when one begins to see what others do not, it is both an awakening and a danger, because the world, my dear friends, does not often welcome those who see too clearly. It prefers the comfort of familiar illusions, the predictable dance of masks and motions. The man who sees through them becomes unsettling, like a mirror that refuses to flatter. He doesn't play by the expected rules. He smiles at seriousness, laughs at ambition, and questions the unquestionable. And so people whisper, he's lost his way. But in truth, he has only stepped off the well-paved road of habit and found the wild path of reality. The danger of seeing what others don't is not merely social, it is existential. For when you begin to perceive the fragile dream we call the world, you may start to wonder if you belong anywhere within it. You begin to see how much of life is a performance, how people play out roles, father, mother, businessman, believer, skeptic, all wearing masks so long that they forget there's a face beneath. And when you begin to see that, you may feel terribly alone. You may feel as though you've gone mad, because everyone else seems to agree upon things that suddenly appear absurd. They argue over money, pride, and politics as if eternity depended upon them, and you, standing there quietly, wonder why. You see, it's rather like attending a masquerade ball and suddenly realizing that everyone has mistaken their costumes for their skin. You try to tell them, you're free, you can take the mask off, but they look at you with confusion and fear, for to them, you're the mad one, the dangerous one, for even suggesting that the mask is not who they are. The danger, then, is isolation, the feeling of being exiled from the comfortable dream that sustains the collective. You see too much, too quickly, and it feels as if the ground beneath your feet has dissolved. But this, too, is part of the dance, because seeing what others don't is not a curse, it is an initiation. It is the beginning of wisdom, the first trembling step beyond the walls of convention. Now, I do not mean to romanticize it. It can be terribly uncomfortable. You might find yourself unable to participate in the usual games, the conversations at dinner, the goals everyone strives for. They lose their magic. The words become hollow, the gestures mechanical. And you think, have I lost something, or have I gained something deeper that others have forgotten? The answer is both. You've lost the comfort of certainty. You've gained the wonder of truth, and truth is rarely comfortable. It is wild, unpredictable, mercilessly honest. It tears down the illusions that shield us from the vast mystery of being. It shows us that all our structures, our religions, our nations, our identities, are but temporary lines drawn in the sand, soon to be washed away by the tide of eternity. And yet, there is beauty in that impermanence. For when you truly see it, not as a theory but as a living experience, you begin to relax into the flow. You realize that you are never standing apart from life, observing it from a safe distance. You are life happening. You are the wave realizing it is the ocean. But before that realization feels like freedom, it often feels like falling. And that, you see, is the danger. The mind's panic as it loses its grip on the known, because the moment you see through the illusion, the ego begins to tremble. It whispers, if this is all a play, then who am I? And the answer, my friends, is that you were never the character, you were the actor. And beyond even that, the stage itself. Toc what others don't is to awaken from the spell of separateness. It's to feel the pulse of the universe in your veins and realize there's no boundary between the me and the world. But such seeing, unless grounded in compassion, can turn into arrogance. One begins to look down on the dreamers still asleep, forgetting that they, too, are part of the same dream. And so the truly awakened man does not shout from the rooftops, I have seen the truth. He simply smiles, for he knows that even that truth is only another face of the infinite. He dances with the illusion, not because he believes in it, but because he loves it. He plays his role, knowing it's a role. But what a marvelous play it is. To see what others don't is dangerous only if you cling to the idea that you must make others see. That's where many seekers stumble, trying to drag the world into their vision. But the world will awaken in its own time. You can't force a flower to bloom by pulling its petals apart. So the wise one plays gently. He lives in two worlds, the apparent and the unseen, and finds harmony between them. He laughs, he weeps, he builds, he destroys, knowing that all are waves upon the same ocean. The danger then transforms into art, the art of seeing clearly without losing your heart. Because, my dear friends, clarity without love is cruelty, and love without clarity is chaos. The dance of life requires both, the seeing eye and the beating heart, joined in rhythm. So if you've begun to see what others don't, do not run away from the world. Return to it with a new tenderness. Look upon the sleepers not with contempt, but with compassion, for you, too, once dreamed, and perhaps, in some deeper way, you still do. You see, the great paradox of awakening is that it begins with separation and ends in unity. First, when you see what others do not, it feels as though you've been cut off, like a lone island adrift in an ocean of confusion. But gradually, if you are patient, if you do not rush to escape the solitude, you begin to sense that the very ocean that isolates you also sustains you, that you are not apart from it, you are it. But in the beginning, yes, it can feel like exile. The mind, accustomed to belonging, panics. It clings to the familiar, to friends, beliefs, old ambitions, even as these begin to crumble. The old world doesn't quite fit anymore, like a coat that's grown too tight. Yet the new world hasn't taken shape either. You're suspended between two realities, the known and the unknowable, and this in-between is where most people turn back. They say, I must have made a mistake. I should go back to how things were. But you can't unsee what's been seen. The illusion, once recognized, never regains its charm. So you learn to live in the tension. To stand between worlds without choosing one. It's like standing on the threshold of a doorway, where both inside and outside exist at once. And in that balance, that strange, uncertain equilibrium, you discover something extraordinary. You discover that there was never a line dividing the two. You begin to sense the underlying pattern, the invisible pulse that moves through every moment. The laughter and the tears, the birth and the decay, the joy and the despair, all expressions of one cosmic rhythm. And you realize, this is not something happening to you. It is something happening as you, but beware, for this scene, if misunderstood, can become despair. If you fixate on the transience of it all, if you see only the impermanence, you may fall into nihilism. You may say, if everything passes away, if even love and beauty fade, then what's the point? But that's like saying, because the music ends, I should not dance. The song of life is beautiful precisely because it ends. Its value lies not in permanence, but in participation, and the danger of seeing what others don't is in forgetting that you are still part of the song. The insight can become an idol. The understanding can become a prison. You begin to think, I am beyond all this. But the moment you think you are beyond, you have fallen back into illusion, the most subtle one of all, spiritual pride. You see, to awaken is not to rise above life, but to fall more deeply into it, to taste it fully, knowing it is fleeting, to love without possession, to act without attachment, to see the players play and still give it everything you've got, because awakening is not escape. It is intimacy. It is seeing the divine not as something hidden behind the world, but shining through it, in the laughter of children, the ache of longing, the silence between words. Now, there's a wonderful thing that happens when you stop trying to fix the world and start simply seeing it. You begin to notice how the very things you once called problems are essential to the dance. You see that conflict creates movement, loss creates space, and even confusion deepens understanding. It's like the shadow on a painting. Without it, there would be no depth, and so, the awakened one doesn't try to erase the darkness. He dances with it. He sees that light and shadow define each other, that joy and sorrow are not enemies but partners in the eternal rhythm of existence. But this, again, is dangerous, for the world often misunderstands such acceptance. People may accuse you of being detached, indifferent, cold. They will say, "Don't you care about suffering? Don't you want to make things better?" And you do care, deeply, but not in the frantic, grasping way of those who think life can be controlled. You care as the ocean cares for the wave. You allow things to rise and fall, not because you don't love them, but because you understand that clinging destroys what it tries to preserve. So, the wise person walks a quiet middle path, neither apathetic nor desperate, neither trapped by illusion nor obsessed with truth. He moves with the rhythm, trusting that each step, however uncertain, is exactly as it should be. To what others don't, then, is to surrender the illusion of control. To recognize that life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived, and this recognition, this deep seeing, is both liberating and frightening, for it means you are no longer separate from what happens. The boundary between you and the world dissolves. You can no longer say, "This shouldn't be." Because who is there to say it? It's a strange kind of freedom, one that feels, at first, like loss. You lose the story of yourself. You lose the sense of being the hero or the victim. You lose your special place in the universe. But in that losing, you gain the whole universe itself, and yet, even this realization must be worn lightly. For to cling even to enlightenment is to miss the point. You cannot hold the truth, it flows. You cannot capture the infinite, it dances. It's like trying to trap the wind in a jar. The moment you label it, it's gone. So, the wise man laughs and lets the jar go. He walks in the wind and feels it on his face. Now, imagine you are walking through a forest. You come across a flower, delicate, perfect. The unawakened mind says, "How beautiful! I must pluck it, keep it, make it mine." But the awakened mind kneels down and simply looks. It sees that the flower's beauty lies in its transience, that its very fragility is what makes it precious, and in that moment of seeing, the flower is not separate from you. You are the act of perceiving it, the consciousness through which its beauty becomes known. That, my friends, is what it means to see what others don't. To see the world not as a collection of separate things, but as a single, living process. To see that everything, the joy and the sorrow, the gain and the loss, is the universe exploring itself. And when you see that, something shifts in you. The fear of death softens. The hunger for meaning quiets. You begin to laugh, not out of cynicism, but from the sheer, overwhelming wonder of it all. For the joke, you see, is that you've been looking for yourself this whole time, and you were never anywhere else.